Okay, so today I'm trying to build some kind of the interview slash podcast setup in my living room. So I have to remodel my living room. I bought two props, so these two chairs I bought especially for that setup and also for some other videos. So these are my props. They were like 120 bucks and they seems to be genuine leather. But I'm trying to build the cross light setup. So there is Aputure 600D on big Kupo stand, but it might be a bit problematic because this room is really small and I also have one of these big stands only. So the idea was to have on the other side to also have the COB light, and in this case is G300 from ZHIYUN. But the problem with this light is when it is mounted sideways and you put the softbox here, it slips. So this button or this pin is not strong enough to keep the softbox in place. If it is mounted vertically, it's fine because the softbox does not spin, but here in this position actually the softbox wants to spin clockwise and it just detach from the balance mount and it can hit you in the head. So not a great idea. That means I have to probably use a panel here on this side because I don't have a matching stand. It is just a C stand. So yeah, it's not viable option. I thought it would be viable to mount this that way because this light is really light and I can use the C stand for that, but unfortunately you cannot mount the softbox, so I have to somehow squeeze the panel here, which might be problematic because I cannot remove this bookshelf. So I would block the windows later, but I established probably 3 shots. Not sure about the main angle at the moment. Now the main shot, now one of the shots or both of my shots are my crotch, so not the best angle, but the lighting is not yet set up. So this is the first angle, which is kind of similar to the second one. So this is for one of the guest interviewers. The exposure is not right because I'm lit by the window, so the exposure is not right yet, but I'm starting from setting up the angles and then I will try to set up the lighting correctly so it is out of frame and it is correctly, and the exposure is correct and the look is correct. So this is first angle. Maybe I would have to change it a bit. I'm not sure it's crooked or not. It seems not, but hard to say. So this is the second angle and you can see actually on the small and the grade that for some reason OM5 thinks that the fireplace is a face. I don't know why, but it chooses to. And don't mind my black eye because it's better now. I guess I was too passionate on the basketball game, but that's the second angle. Of course, no lighting yet. There is no light on my key side for this chair. So yeah, that's the other angle, and I probably have to somehow fix the main angle to like eliminate the lights from the frame. And there is still ugly shadow on the wall, so we'll see if I can eliminate the shadow or not. And basically that's the setup. So the angles are set up more or less the same, although I don't see the fireplace on the second angle on this one. So probably I have to fix this to have the fireplace in this, although this might be problematic because as you can see there is a sofa there, but I can still move the sofa a bit, so maybe I have to push back this. The focal lengths are more or less the same, although every camera is different brand, every camera has different log profile, every camera is different, so this is a bit annoying part. But it's not about matching colors, it's rather about the building the set and setting up proper framing. So this is 55 millimeters from size on full frame, and there is 35 on Super 35, which is more or less the same angle, I think, because the crop factor on this camera Blackmagic is like what? 1.6, 1.8, hard to say. So I can kinda match those looks, moving camera back or both cameras back and forth to have more or less the same framing. Anyway, so main angle is 35 millimeters. I mean 17 millimeters on Micro Four Thirds, so it is 35 millimeters field of view. Not sure it's a good angle or not. I don't have a monitor attached to this camera, but it is a starting point. So this angle might be changed, although I don't see a lot of possibilities. Maybe I can get 45 there. The 25 would be probably the best choice. So that would be 3 angles with around 50 millimeters field of view, but unfortunately I do not have 25 for Micro Four Thirds, so I got 45. So maybe I can push it back to still have both of the chairs in the frame. We'll see, but this is like the starting point, so the frames are more or less created, but I think that this one is a bit different, so I have to angle it to have the fireplace in this angle, and I will try to build the lighting. It was kind of hard to remodel the living room. It took like an hour or more, so now I spent probably another hour to build the shots and build the lighting. We'll see how this will look like in the end. Probably a part of these 2 key lights, and with the cross lighting you got a key light in front of each talent, and then the key light is the hair light for the other person. I would ask my wife to sit down when she's back from work to see how good or bad it looks. And yeah, ideally it would be that I have like identical shot on each side. I got also another COB light except this one, but I do not have a substantial stand like the Kupo stand, so I'm not able to mount the other one. Maybe I can somehow squeeze the C-stand there behind me, but I doubt it. It would be in the shot, so probably not an option. We'll see. I can use Nanlite 240C as a key light for the other person. So, okay, let me try to build the frames to match both angles, because it seems there are not matched yet. I don't see the fireplace on this one, and I see the fireplace on the other one. Although maybe actually this one is bad, yet I think this fireplace would be some kind of the matching point for each angle, so it is in the middle of the main shot, so should be somehow on the, I mean, I could do also over the shoulder for the guest, like, so that could be a, but ideally that would be 5 cameras, but yeah, I can try over the shoulder too later, but now I would try to have the matching angles actually. Yeah, so I'll try to match those 2 side angles. I thought they are matched, but they are not. They are much, they are not much like that. I guess the look of the chair is different, a bit different, although the angle of the chair is more or less the same. So yeah, the crotch shot is my favorite. So I don't know. Yeah, I have to somehow angle the Sony crop too much the other one, and we'll see. So now I have the both main angles matched more or less. There is the fireplace on both shots. Maybe I want to think, which I might reconsider, is that my kneecaps are in the other shot when I'm here, or the guest or interviewee kneecaps would be in my shot also. And the problem with this Sony shot is that this is size lens which has terrible focus breathing, so when I move, the angle would change a bit probably, or maybe not, because the focus point is the same. And now this is the what Blackmagic angle. There is a main angle, and the small problem might be that the lights are visible in the main shot, so that would be the one I would have to fiddle around. So with this one, with the Sony one, there is no light yet, but I would have to somehow mount the other light behind me, which might be tricky. And in this shot is clean, and with the main shot I can still see the Aputure light there, so I can move it higher. But the problem would be that a part of my black eye, I would have raccoon eyes, because my eyes are kind of deep in my skull. So that might be problematic for me. If I move this light, the key light, higher, then the problem might be that I would have raccoon eyes. So it might not be problematic for everyone, but for me it is problematic. So we'll see. I will probably mount the grid on the softbox, but we'll see how the light behaves in this space. So these are the three angles which I think are now okay, maybe except the main one. For the main one, it is kind of low, but it's not that bad. It is like at this level. So maybe I will move the camera up and angle it down, because to eliminate the light from the frame, I can also move the camera down, but then it would be a frog perspective, which is really weird for the interviews, I think. So yeah, we'll see. Probably I will move it higher and angle it down, but it all depends. And or maybe I would try 45mm and push the camera back to have it. It is already quite tight, because I can see my face is barely in the frame, so maybe it won't cut it. But I tried different lenses for the main shot, and it was not that great if I tried the wider focal length. Ideally it would be if I have two matching cameras for the interviewer and interviewee, or for the guests, but I don't have that luxury yet. Maybe I would have to ZV-E10 Make 2 to have a matching angle. That would be probably a good idea, although the problem is they have only one card slot, which is not the best idea for the main angle. So we'll see. Although as a backup you can record via HDMI, but I have only one HDMI recorder at the moment, so it makes it kinda not a viable option, because you can get something with two slot cheaper than the Atomos and ZV-E10 Mark II. So we'll see. Probably next few days there will be a big promo here in Poland, so maybe I would get some other cameras. But let me try to build the lighting here, and with the cross lighting it is that this light would be my key light and would be the hair light for the other guest at the same time, and I would have the light on the opposite side, which might be tricky to push here. We'll see. So I will try to build it and see you in a bit. So I killed the ambient light almost, and I've been able to squeeze Nanlite 240C in that corner. It is really tight squeeze. So that's the light in that corner, and maybe it is a bit more behind that it is a bit more behind that chair than the Aputure 600D, but I will sit down and see how each angle looks, and probably I have to bring my light meter to be sure about the exposure. So I set up my light meter for ISO 400 to have a proper exposure for the Blackmagic, and that will be also proper exposure for the Sony, because the Sony is at ISO 800, which means one stop over the Blackmagic, and for S-Log I need one stop more on my face. So let me see. It is f2.8, so actually in theory this is the proper exposure, although on the screen it seems like overexposed. I don't know. So kinda weird. I don't know if I have the hair light, so I will kill Aputure to see. Yes, there is a hair light, which is kinda okay. I don't know why this turned off on me. So it says it is okay. The problem might be that since this is quite close to my head, the hair light might be too strong if I adjust it for the other side, which is weird. And also seems that Aputure hair light, you can see, is a bit on the hot side, so I can probably kill it with the grid. So let me check the Nanlite. Nanlite is just at 1%, so it is just illuminating the background a bit, like I think this part of the background. Yes, so there are still some ugly shadows on the background, so I guess I would have to put like a lantern in front of the whole set to like put the ambience up, because you can see how dark is that part of my face. But maybe also these lights are not like to the side enough. Maybe, I don't know, we'll see, because this one is almost straight up to my face. Might be weird. So I will kill the Aputure first, and it's quieter, a lot quieter, and I guess these two Nanlites panels would be the best for such a small space, and it's really dark, so and the light is smaller, so definitely it is less, and 2.8.6, 2.8.3, so 2.8 at 30% with double diffusion. So yeah, the small problem is that probably the Aputure hair light is too strong here. So, and I don't know how the main angle looks like, because it's like really tiny, and I can see that at this power, on the Sony angle, it's a bit, there is some halo. So maybe I have to actually push both cameras closer to have tighter frame. Maybe, I mean, I don't have to show the legs, but then if I push it closer, I would probably lose the fireplace from this, so it might be a bit confusing, I don't know. Anyway, I will try to turn on the aperture back, and I think it's too hot here on my face as a hairlight, so I guess I have to cut it. I have to cut both with the grid, and maybe that would be better. So let me bring the grids, and of course I'm kinda in the health hazard with the Nanlite 240C because the Velcro hooks are still flying around. I got a new sold box from the support, and it's the same problem. So yeah, it's kind of annoying, but doing that for you, I'm trying not to breathe in close proximity when I'm attaching or detaching the diffusion or the crate, so I should be fine. But first I would check this angle. What is the hairlight here? Yeah, it seems that the hairlight is too strong, like the exposure on back of my head is crazy, like it is almost f5.6, so I guess I have to try to kill it with the grid. Yeah, okay, let me try to kill it. Yeah, I will try to resolve this hotspot issue if it's possible. I'm not sure, so maybe I would have to actually angle it that it is from above my head, so it's actually not a hairlight for my head. We'll see. And I can also check what is the hairlight here. So where is it? It's here, so it says F2 because this angled differently, so it's rather hitting this part of my head. I don't know. Anyway, I'll try to figure this out. So let me grab the grids and see you in a bit. Okay, so I got grids on both lights, and you can see how lame this grid is because it's already detached. It's lame. This is the grid that loses the hooks, and I got a grid on Aputure. It's also detached, but I probably haven't attached it properly, so let's see how the exposure changed and if I still got that hotspot on my head. So I have the same power and I can see the hotspot here, unfortunately, but it is, I don't know, it's like on the back of my head, but so it's f2.8.8 here, so it is too bright, I think. So probably it's not possible to use the light in that close proximity as a headlight, which is kinda logical since it's hitting my head earlier than the interviewer or the other person. Okay, so I probably have to angle it above my head, like, which might be quite hard actually for this light because it's like pushed to the corner of the room. So let me check what is the exposure on my face now. It is f2.07, so less than f2.8, and it should be f2.8, but it's not that off. And I think like the problem is that I got a monitor there, but I would be talking to that person, so I probably have to emulate this and check this in the second, how the lighting looks like. But I guess this one is a bit too straight into my face. It should be like more to the side and angled. but the problem is that this is the corner of the room, so I don't have any wiggle room there. I mean, maybe part of the wiggle room if I can like still raise the legs of this stand, but then it would be wobbly. So, and I can try to turn off the aperture, and I think the aperture, yes, this new Amaran app is kind of annoying, because when you touch something, then the exposure changes. I guess it's not that bad on this side, like I have to bring the exposure up for a Nanlite. Like, let's try 40%, and this f2.8, so at 40, and it looks kind of okay, although I would be like that. So I don't know, maybe actually that should be angled to my right, like that's too much from this from the side. I guess I have to like move this monitor here to be able to see it, or even move it behind the chair to be able to see. And I think that this headlight from Aputure looks now okay. Probably, although there is this ugly shadow, I think from this light, actually, yes, from the softbox. So yeah, I can still move it higher, but yeah, I think that, let me check what is the exposure, f2, which is kind of okay. Like maybe here it is f2.04, which is, I think, okay. So I think I have to move this monitor there to see how I look. That's the good idea, I think. And this monitor here and behind this chair. So let me do it to be able to see how the angles look like, because I won't be talking to the camera, or the interviewee won't be talking to the camera. I would be talking to the other person, so it would be like that, but I cannot judge the lighting that way. So let me set up the monitors then. And look what Atomos decided. He decided to be fucked up. It's really weird. This Atomos OS 11, it just stopped working and asked me to reinstall. So I have to search for the drive, put the drive there with the firmware and try to reinstall it mid-shoot. Imagine how annoying it would be if I'm on the real set. I have to fix the angle because it is too much to the side, I think. It should be like it's there and should be like there. So I have to fix both angles and change the battery in the OM5. Let me show you. Okay, so I have changed the angles of the side cameras, changed a bit of the angle of the main camera, and I can't see it. And the firmware in Atomos is updated. Not sure all the features are there, and the problem is that now I'm kind of maybe too far away to this edge of a frame, but if I rotate this camera, then the TV set is in the frame and I cannot remove it from the wall. So that's the problem. So this is the angle I can get. I get rid of the shadow on the wall. I raise the Aputure 600D and I got monitor there, so I can see my face on the monitor and it looks like I'm talking to someone. Maybe I'm looking off a bit to the side, but it's better than before. And so this side seems to be okay. I have to check the headlight, because maybe it's not hitting my head anymore. The device is definitely running. there is something here, although I would probably prefer it to be like there. So I got mixed feelings about this, and definitely the contrast ratio is too high, like this side of my face is too dark, but I will fix this with lantern, I think. So the exposure on my face is correct for this camera, so I have to go on the other side, and now I can see that my head here is too bright. So the problem is actually the Nanlite is a small problem, but we'll see. Maybe I would fix it in a second. Let me check what is the exposure here. It is not enough with the grade, and I wonder if I think that this angle is still a bit different than the other one. So like you don't see this side of my face, the black-eyed side, and here, yeah, it's a bit different. I mean, the problem is that this is bigger monitor, so it seems I'm bigger. My brain cannot process it. Maybe there is also something, but I think it's just a shadow, and this bookshelf is not the best thing. But let me check the exposure of my face. I have to raise it with this annoying app. It's annoying because you cannot adjust this. Okay, so the aperture is at 15% to have this exposure, and yeah, I think it's a bit different look. Unfortunately, no surprise, there are two different modifiers. This one is higher, so I think I have to move the Nanlite higher, but since it does not angle enough, that might be problematic for this angle. But I guess I would have to live with those two angles, although this one seems to be a bit higher because I can see the picture, but this picture, yeah, this picture is at the same height as the pictures on the other wall, and the pictures on the other wall are not visible. So yeah, so I guess I have to just angle it down a bit like the other one is, and that would probably be okay. And I have to try to fix the Nanlite with raising it up a bit. Maybe this would help. What is the, yeah, probably the edge of the light is now at the same height, but still I have my like all the hair overexposed. I think it looks like it is overexposed. It is a 4, so it is overexposed. I mean, yeah, it is, because it is f5.6 for this camera, so it is definitely overexposed, so it looks bad. I don't know if I can help it somehow. Let me see if this lighting changed. It changed a bit. I think now it is not angled enough. I can see like that should be lower, so no, it's not that great. And maybe I can angle it down still, but I doubt it. It's better, I think, in terms of my exposure. It's f2.8, even 0.1. So like I don't know, like here the hairlight is almost not existent on the aperture. I mean, I can check it again. There is some here, and it actually not. I mean, probably not bad. Hard to judge it. Hard to judge it from the distance, but the general lighting seems to be okay. I think. This ugly shadow is a bit problematic, so I would probably fix it with the ambient light. We'll see. I wonder what is the exposure there. F1, so I got like one stop off, or even two stops of wiggle room. I can actually place some lights on the floor and bring up the exposure of the background that way, like tubes maybe. I will see in a second. But other than that, like, I think this angle looks okay, but this angle doesn't because of this, and also it's like, seems my face is overexposed, but it's not. I don't know, maybe it just looks that way, but I think my hair is overexposed and I cannot fix it. Is the I do not have the flag, but you know, I'm trying that setup, so if you try, you succeed. So I think I will angle this one to get rid of the frame, and then bring the ambient light to bring up a bit the exposure on the side of my face. So let me do it. Okay, so I brought the ambient light, which is of course too powerful because it is f2.8.6, and that should be something like f2 tops, maybe something like that, f2.2, f2.0 here, and since it is symmetrical, should be kind of the same here. It is, no, it is less, a bit less, so it's not that symmetrical, it seems. Yeah, it depends a bit, maybe because it's leaking, hard to say. Anyway, it is the lantern which is behind the main angle camera, and I mean, maybe it is still too bright based on the look here. It brought up the ambience of the whole thing, but maybe it is f2 is too much. So if I turn it off, then it is totally black. It's 1.4 in theory, 1.4. There is some still of this light hitting the... It is moody look, but I think it's too moody. So what if I cannot adjust when this off. Like run it at 14% or something. It is 1.4.7 here. It is a lantern, and I'm not sure it is angled right. I wonder. Here it is 1.4.4. Now it is, yeah, it is like one stop. My leg is one stop brighter here on my calf, so yeah. Yeah, it's definitely better because also this part of the chair is brighter. I think it's look better. So I guess that would be my final look for today. Let me check the second angle. Now for some reason the second angle I lowered it a bit, and now I can see the floor there, which is not sure I want that, because I think I don't see the floor on the other shot. I see just a bit, so I see less than here. So maybe it also depends how I sit. If I sit really straight, then my head is cut. If I sit a bit relaxed, then my head is in the shot. So maybe. And here I'm sitting a bit relaxed. When I'm sitting straight, still my head is in the frame, so maybe I should raise it a bit. So now I think that that angle is almost the same as the other one, although the exposure is a bit different, or it looks like that on the monitor, because there are two different monitors with two different brightnesses, so it's hard to say, but seems like this first of all is a bit different angle, maybe, I don't know, but like based on where the chair and the fireplace is placed, it seems kinda similar, but it looks like it is more to the side than to the front. Maybe I should still move it there and angle it back. Is probably still possible. So when I'm here, can I see like a bit of other side of my face? Don't all probably depends how I would look on the person on the other side. And here maybe it is similar, I don't know. This look is a bit different, but it's a different camera, so it's hard to say actually. That's the look with I don't know, probably the angle is a bit different, because here you can see my eye and there not, so I have to still angle it down. So let me try. Yeah, there is. So maybe, yes, I think now it is kind of the same. There is a piece of the fireplace. It's probably smaller than on the other side, but I'm also like my hand is almost out of the frame. And how does this ambient, how does it change? I mean, I wonder what is the exposure on the wall now. It is f1.4 almost, which is 2 stops lower than exposure on my face, which should be okay. So I guess that's the final look for today. I'm not happy with that look because my head is overexposed here, so it is not that great, but I'm not able to push any other light there, I think. This fireplace is actually in the middle. This fireplace is actually in the middle. Maybe I have to work on the main angle for a second. So I will check this also, because this might be too low, but since this monitor is so small, it's hard to judge. So this is how it looks like, and yeah, I think now the angles are kinda the same. I guess the best way is to have two identical cameras with two identical lenses, and then you can actually use the tape measure to measure the distance from each camera to each person, and then it would be like 100% the same, but it is what it is here, and I got just these cameras, so it is what it is. So I will try to see if there is better main angle possible. Should be. Now I think that lights are not in the frame, but I think it's too low. But maybe it's good for this, because like, I mean, I got mixed feelings, but I don't know. And also I don't have any close-up, but if I do it in HD, then I can do the close-up in post, so it's not that bad. And here on this shot, these books create the shadow, they are annoying, so maybe I can fix it. Not sure, like maybe actually this light is too much to the front, And that's why this part of my face is also lit. It shouldn't be, I don't know what this light does. So Aputure also put some light here. It's like kind of like a Rembrandt, and the other maybe big softbox would be better idea there, but okay, that's what I've done today. I will bring my wife later here to see how this looks like with two people, and we can swap places to see. And yeah, so this is for the moment. I will try main angle, and those two side angles I think are quite okay. It's definitely better, although I'm not sure this, like having this corner in the frame is a good idea. Maybe I should like bring them to the front. I can do it in post to an extent, and of course my hand is not in the frame, but the problem is if I angle this camera or the other camera a bit the way that my head is in rule of thirds, then you can see the light stand behind me, and there in the other angle you can see the telly, so it's not that great, but it's the place I have, so I guess I utilized it to the max. Maybe I can like move to the side a bit and then bring the cameras forward. Maybe that's the thing to try. But yeah, maybe I can try this in a second. But then I have to adjust the lights, so that might be annoying. Okay, anyway, let me change the main angle and see. Anyway, I changed the main angle. Now it is up and a bit angled down, and I think it looks more natural now, but it's hard to judge on that small screen, really hard to judge, but I think it's a bit better. These two angles are, I think, kind of okay. This is a bit better because there is something in the background, this bookshelf. Not sure, like it would be probably better if the bookshelf is there, because that like this frame is busier on that side and really empty on the other side. But or maybe I should like push it to the front and have a fireplace out of the frame. I don't know, maybe. But at the moment I guess I would keep it like it is, test it with my wife, and we'll see how this looks like with two people in the frame. And I guess I would call it a day, and I can improve that later and think about how to improve this frame. The Sony frame looks a bit empty because there is just empty wall behind me, so it's not that great of the look, but it's what it is. Maybe I should have 35s there, and with 35s that will look a bit better. Hard to say. But this is the first look I created for this setup with two chairs, kind of the interview look. Yeah, maybe still the cameras should be angled more to the side, but here in this space it is not possible because there is crap on the background which should look weird, so there is not much of the wiggle room. So these are the final looks. This part is a bit strange, and maybe I should get rid of this strip of the shadow, although like the maybe it is not that bad actually. Yeah, so those are three of my final crops. I would check if maybe the original ones were better or not. I think this one is better when you see both sides of the face. When people talking, like there is a bit of this side of my face in this angle. Before it was like none, and here it seems to be the same. It of course depends how I sit. If I sit like that, then it won't be. If I sit like that, you can see my whole face. But if I sit straight, then you can see just a bit of both sides of my face, which I guess, I mean, it depends how someone would sit, but I guess it's okay, okay-ish. Although this one seems like it's differently exposed, although shouldn't. So yeah, maybe Seconic lights, I don't know. Anyway, that's it. I will test it with my wife and that would be it. So how this final setup looks like. There is a Nanlite to my left, is behind the chair on the left. There is a Aputure 600D with Aputure Light Dome 3. I guess the best setup would be if there are two similar lights. Can I put two of these here? Probably if I have the stand like that, this Kupo stand, which is 500 euros, so I don't have another one. And regarding the cameras, there is Sony, the angle for left, there is a OM5 and there is a Blackmagic, the angle for the second person. And regarding the lights and the power, the Aputure is running at 15%, the Nanlite is running at 42%, and the G300 Molus is running at 13%. And the Molus is just a lantern, but I put the skirt on the back to block spilling on the back and reflecting from the background behind the light. So this is just the lantern. It illuminates a ceiling a bit, but only a bit with this skirt, and it illuminates the rest of the room quite evenly, but it's just at 13% for this exposure. So yeah, that's the final setup. I think the final angles and lighting are not that bad. They are not heavily color graded, just a simple S-Log3 LUT and color space transform for the Blackmagic angle. The headlight on the left side is a bit too harsh, but there is no way to cut it down since it is a key for the person sitting on the right side, and there is not much room left behind the left armchair to adjust the light or put the flag there. You can even see the leg of the stand in the bottom left corner. I'm not 100% sure that only the legs of the other person should be in the shot. Probably not. It depends on the side, because my wife's legs are in the shot only when she sits on the right. Mine are always there. So probably it is the thing to be fixed. Maybe these two cameras have to be pushed to the front, and then the legs and the fireplace are eliminated from both the tight angles. The main angle is not the best, but it's not that bad either. Would probably be nicer and more interesting if the fireplace had fire in it. But apart from being shot on OM5, which is not the best video camera, really lame 8-bit codec, it is acceptable. I've spent like 3 hours creating this setup, so if you like the final look, give me a like. I would spend another 2 to bring the living room to the original state. All the gear introduced is linked in the description as affiliate links. If you use them, you help the channel a lot. That's it, and cheers, mate!